Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans. And it is our first video under the new moniker, Rick. How are we feeling? Also, I know you are shocked right now, Rick, in the sense of Rick called that it was going to take me 3 tries to get the intro right, as I have to make a big adjustment in the sense of I'm used to saying CFL Central, but now we are saying Canadian Football Central.
No, so, I only said 3 tries because of the intro that you released yesterday.
Oh yeah, no, I've messed intros up left, right, and center before that people just don't see. But yeah, so for those wondering why we did this kind of rebrand, it was just in the sense of that this channel's been going well. You guys have been very, very supportive. It's been very, very well received in the CFL community, and so I thank each and every viewer for that. And this is a channel that I want to be able to market in the future and honestly see how big we can get this and see how it goes. And maybe it gets nothing, maybe it gets a ton, but overall I've had a ton of fun doing it. And so the fact of the matter is that if it does go anywhere, having CFL in the name of the channel could hurt it in the sense of if we wanted to have our logo on anything, there's legal issues with having that in the name. So I wanted to keep it as Canadian football, but separate it from that a little bit. And honestly, I feel like the adjustment from the kind of the Bombers colors, that was the tone around the old logo, to now our new red and white Canadian based one. I really dig it. So shout out to my friend Carter Richard Designs, employee at Keener Jerseys, for designing the logo and doing a fantastic job on it. And so shout out to him. He's done a lot of incredible work. He's done a lot of jersey designs professionally and does this and that. He's just fantastic at all that. So shout out to Carter Richard about that. Had to get that out there. So check out Carter Richard Designs on Instagram to see all of his work. And if you need anything like that, you can send him a message there. So just wanted to give that just because that's really important to me and for this channel. Now, we have 4 games of CFL action this week. Rick, how are you feeling? How are you feeling about everything? Well, I actually start with the name change thing. I want to kind of get your 2 cents on that, but
well, now that we've changed logos, if we ever decided to go with merch down the road, we can now do merch.
Yeah, well, that kind of goes back to if we ever wanted to market anything, it leaves that door open. And I like the logo; it's very clean. But I think you're excited because the first game of the week that we are going to talk about is your Hamilton Tiger Cats versus your arch rivals in the Toronto Argonauts.
This is what I like to call the separating the man from the boys game.
Oh, is that so?
So, in other words, you play like shit, you ain't making the team. Because if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it's 10 to 13 spots, and it is 8 of them are American spots, 1 global, and then the rest Canadians.
I was about to say, it looks like the Argonauts here, looking at their depth chart that you had sent me, a lot of starters in the lineup there for them.
All starters except for 3.
Pretty much, yeah. Looking here at the Ticats, I see you guys are going to be starting Taylor Powell at quarterback. I see.
So here's the thing
Gordon
with
White
ours
in there,
is,
my man, and everyone else in the lineup.
It's weird because we have O'Leary Orange, we have Smith, we have Luther. You know, we have all of our some of our.
I'm shocked I haven't seen O'Leary Orange hit the field.
That's because he's been injured.
Oh, okay, that would make sense. See, I struggle to keep up on injuries in the sense that there's so many. However, we will talk about a very, very important one when we talk about the Winnipeg-Calgary game, as that is an injury that needs to be talked about.
Also, one player I will mention that's not on this list that's already made the team,
and that is
good old Stephen Dunbar, who was brought back to the team.
Dunbar Jr. was signed back to the Ticats.
So,
how are you feeling about that?
Interesting thing.
Pleased?
So, Here's the thing.
Mr. Ticats talk.
So I have a theory that we're going to take 4 American receivers, 3 Canadian receivers.
Oh yeah.
It's going to come down to Bridges, White, Dunbar. Then all the Americans have to fight for that one spot.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have Smith, O'Leary, Orange, and Luther. Those are the 3. So but I will say, once we start our defense, I'm trying to think. Do you remember what that stat was that they started up last year? The CFL stat that they came out with weekly?
Are you talking about the stats that were done by... Oh, I'm trying to remember the name of the company.
It was a new stat that came out. Anyways, 3 of our defensive backs this year were 3 of the top 8 in defensive backs last year.
Oh, yeah?
The only problem that I have with our defense is our linebackers.
I see.
Everyone else, I mean, we have Nick Usher, we have Bennett, we have Barlow, we have Menard that we just signed that got cut from BC. We have Sales, we have Mason. I think we're set on defense. It's just the linebackers that I'm nervous for.
I see.
And it will be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think
the 3 people that are not playing for Toronto is Adeleke, which it looks like he's.
I don't see Adeleke here in the chart.
Oh, so don't tell me. Did he get? Oh, did he get? Maybe. No, but he's on the team roster though. He's just not playing.
Yeah, he's just not playing. No, that makes sense.
So him, David Unger II, and one of their offensive linemen.
I see.
I think it's Cisco. Those are the only 3 regulars that are not playing.
So then, I guess what that all boils down to, Rick, who are you taking? I think I know the answer to this. I think I know the answer. But
I already know we're gonna lose. And Toronto's only going.
So you're taking Toronto, actually? Probably in terms of who you think, not who you want, who you think.
I mean, it all comes down to who does better in the backups, because Toronto starters will only play like a quarter, maybe half.
Although that's the thing, though, is that in that quarter you can establish a lead, and as long as you don't blow it, you know. But I mean, you never know. You never know when sometimes when Toronto gets under pressure.
I don't care.
Chad Kelly decides to throw a few picks. I know he's not playing today, but maybe he's rubbed that off on the rest of his team. We'll see.
People can make fun of me for all I want. I could never, ever, 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 ever take the Argos over my Ticats.
Fair enough.
You can bury me in the ground before I take the Argos.
It's funny. I don't view that as a loyalty thing, in the sense of, like, if I take the Riders in a game over the Bombers, you're asking me who I think, not who I want. I'm not going to cheer for them. I'm not going to cheer for that stupid green that I don't like. However, but it's one of those things where if they've been playing better, then I will acknowledge that. But I'm predicting that I think the Toronto Argonauts are going to win this game.
I mean, it's preseason. Who really cares? It's the last preseason game.
I don't mean, like, don't get offended by this. I think if I look at the roster that they've dressed and the roster that you've dressed, I just think that the roster they've dressed is better, and they're the home team. Makes sense. So I'm going with the Argonauts.
It's come down to make the practice roster.
So the next game of the week is the Montreal Alouettes versus the Ottawa Red Blacks. And so this game is in Ottawa. And let me actually pull up the depth chart once again that you sent me. And I see, if I'm looking here, did you send me the Alouettes?
Yes, I did.
Did
you?
I not? No, you didn't send me the Alouettes. If you can please send me the Alouettes depth chart. I see the Red Blacks here. I'll take a look at that. So, yeah, you got Drew Brown as well as Dustin Crum at quarterback. Pretty sure Dustin Crum is not number 180. They still haven't fixed this shit from last week. And then I see they got Jalen Acklin in. They got Hardy in. Desjardins at left guard. He's always been a really, really solid piece on what has been sometimes a not-so-solid O-line for Ottawa. Braylon Addison's going to be playing in And then Dominic Rhymes will be playing. And I don't think Dominic Rhymes played last game. I could be wrong for the Red Blacks.
Give me 1 second here.
See Cranston and a day in.
Pickett didn't play.
I'm talking Dominic
Santos.
Rhymes.
No, I know. I'm just going through.
Oh, I see.
Acklin didn't play. Rhymes didn't play. Addison didn't play.
So there's a lot of starters that are going into the lineup there for.
Oh, it's pretty much who's ever lined up the way that they are going to be starters.
I see. And then I'm taking a look here on the Alouette side of things. Looks like Caleb Evans will be getting the reins here at the start. And then I see you got Bowman there on receiver. So Barbin.
From what I've read,
Cote and Maltos at kicking.
Rambo for the Alouettes. If you look at his number,
yep.
Do you know what number that represents?
Elaborate.
So, do you remember a famous defenseman who played for the Canadians in Montreal?
You telling me he's PK Subban?
Oh, that is PK Subban's number.
I know it's PK Subban. Like, you're telling me he's doing that because of PK?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know what? Fair enough. Love PK. I do love me some PK Sluban. Sorry. It's Slufa.
My whole theory is that apparently he's supposed to be the up and coming new receiver in Montreal. Besides Jones coming over from Saskatchewan.
And honestly, if that's the case in Montreal, losing a guy like Austin Mack and getting that, this is a good time for that. Good replacement, and I mean the Alouettes, they're a Grey Cup contender, so this is that's really important for them. And then overall, it looks like they're dressing a decent lineup, but there's a lot of notable guys that are not playing, and unsurprisingly, so overall, I think solid lineup each way, but looks like the Red Blacks are really sticking it to them in terms of.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, though, the other day, Ottawa activated Mazzoli and Adams off of the injury list.
I don't know what they're doing. Like this, it's one of those things where there's options of what they can do, but I'm worried they'll pick the worst one. Like the worst option. Like to me, you know what this gives me vibes of? When the Toronto Maple Leafs had the Shanna plan. And it was like, okay, there's a lot of options. Bro didn't cook. Just didn't cook. So it's like if you're the Red Blacks, you have so many options at quarterback. Figure out what the identity of this team is. Personally, like Mazzoli, it's one of those things where if he can stay healthy, that's good, but I think it's been proven that he can't. And he's near the end of his career. So maybe give him one more shot. Dustin Crum has shown that he can be a guy who's good in spurts and a decent backup, but doesn't have the consistency to be a full-blown starter. I think Drew Brown has probably been the most consistent and can be shown to be that starter. So I think Drew Brown is kind of probably who you're heavily leaning towards as your set-in-stone starter. But, doesn't it hurt to give Mazzoli another try? I mean, it's not like he played bad when he was in. So
right now it's Brown 1, Crum 2, but it makes it interesting if Mazzoli's going to be 2, if Crum becomes 3 in the short yardage.
Yeah, I'm not even sure exactly how they go with that, but overall, I think I'm taking the Red Blacks in this game. You?
Yeah, just looking at Montreal's roster, they have next to no one, no starters. It's just no, I'm not even touching that with a 10.
Just kind of last preseason game to really see who are getting those depth places in the roster. So it makes sense. So we're going Red Blacks. Now, our next game of the week are your Winnipeg Blue Bombers. My Winnipeg Blue Bombers, that is. Not everyone's. But Winnipeg Blue Bombers versus the Calgary Stampeders in Winnipeg. I will actually not be at this game, even though I'm at the vast majority of the games. It's my buddy's 21st birthday tomorrow, so I'm going to be spending that time with him. But I'll definitely make sure to kind of keep track of the game. And it looks interesting because if I'm looking at the Bomber side of things, looks like Terry Wilson's going to be Barrier. I can't remember how exactly you pronounce his name. He was released, and I was saying that Terry Wilson's the guy to roll with, and to get a massive sample size in this game, and it looks like he will be the guy. There's still rumors that Straveller might play a little bit near the start of the game. I don't see him on the depth chart, but I know that was something that was heavily talked about. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw a few plays from Chris Straveller at the start of the game, pop the crowd a bit. Everyone in Winnipeg absolutely adores Chris Straveller ever since win the Grey Cup, massive fur coat, cowboy hat, and a Grey Cup and a cigar. Everyone just loves it because how can you not? It's just peak. This is a peak human being. But yeah, I think Terry Wilson getting a real sample size besides just getting the fourth quarter will be good. I think seeing a little bit of Granger will be nice. I'm interested in the idea of Liam Dobson as a center, just in the sense of I assume that he was going into that guard spot, but Kolinkowski not playing. Looks like Liam Dobson will be playing center. I haven't seen a snapping, so hopefully that's all solid. I'm sure it is if O'Shea is deciding to put him in the middle. Wallace has been okay. Eric Lofton has been solid. I'm curious to see more of him. Coleman, I thought he was decent last game, so I'm excited to see more of him on the O-line. If we're looking at some of the other aspects, I see they got Johnson, Wheatfall, and Smith as your wide receiver slot back and running back on your left side there. Then on your other side, I see that you got Wilson, Mitchell, and Clercius. Guy to keep a look at I'd probably say would be Mitchell. He looked pretty decent last game, so I'm curious to see more from him. We got Patrician and Cole with Moses at linebacker. And when you have Moses as your linebacker, this guy better be able to split that line and will go straight through to get a sack. Open the Red Sea, Moses. Get it done. But I'm glad to one last thing I do want to put in before I let you jump in there. I'm excited to see more of Schmenkel at defensive tackle. I was very pleased with him last game. And so that's another guy, Schmenkel and Rivers at defensive tackle and defensive end on the defensive side for the Bombers. Keep an eye out on him.
Also, this is Houston's first return back to Winnipeg.
Stop reminding me. I was going to get to that eventually, and I don't like talking about
also,
Jake Mayer.
Before I go into details, do you want to mention that injury? Because I was just looking to see what the actual injury is, and oh my God, it's disgusting.
What is it? What is it? Please tell me.
So the injury, I'm not even gonna. It's a tendon. So it's basically the tendon connecting your kneecap to your shin bone.
Oh,
is what he broke. Yeah, I had to look that up. I'm like, so it's the knee ligament that connects the kneecap to the shin bone.
And this was for who, by the way? I'm blanking on the name.
Malik Henry.
Malik Henry, yes. Malik Henry. And this is not, for those not aware, this is not Malik Henry is out for this game. Malik Henry will be out for the entire 2024 CFL season. Ouch! Also, if you're wondering why my tongue is blue, I was at 7-Eleven and I had a Slurpee before this. So just FYI.
Not only that, but he also had a non-contact Achilles injury last year, and he only appeared in 3 games.
I feel so bad. I really feel for the players. First of all, because he's going to have to go through all this recovery and rehab and all this and that to fix something that he didn't even get to play really a game and get anything done. But that's definitely going to hurt.
Worse. It could be a lot worse.
There's a lot, it can. So hopefully, I get scared with knee injuries though. Knee injuries can be real bad.
I mean, you could. I know we've already talked about it, but you could be like a Mazzoli and get injured twice in 1 year.
Oh, and when it comes to knee injuries, once you injure it once, it makes you more prone to having it happen again and again and again. But Jake Mayer will be playing. We'll have Schultz and Bonner and Ventrice with them. Beggleton as well as Philpott and Barnes will be on the right side there with the slot backs and wide receiver. As well as I see
Odom's
Dukes, Mitchell and Eccles on your left side there. For looking at the defensive side of things, this will be Demario Houston's return to Winnipeg. And I pray to God that we don't throw picks to him because I get terrified of Demario Houston in that regard because he's just so good at it. Ticats will be playing there at middle linebacker with Konar and Wall. And then your defensive line will be Hicks, Bohan, Moore, and Hodge. And I see they got Robertson and Handel there at halfback and cornerback. So overall, not a bad. It's funny. It's one of those things where is this going to be the starting Calgary Stampeders? Yes or no? Sorry, I mean no, it's not. However, this is not like. I'll put it this way: the Alouettes are playing almost nobody when it comes to starters. I think there's a lot more starters here in this Calgary lineup, especially on offense. That they will roll with.
You did say Alouettes. This is Winnipeg and Calgary.
I know, but I'm saying the Alouettes in their game played.
Oh yeah.
Are playing no one as in terms of starters. So I'm saying compared to away teams, like for all the away teams in these preseason games, Calgary is playing more than some of the other teams when it comes to their starters. Which makes sense in the sense of Calgary is a team that, like, when you think about the Montreal Alouettes, this is a Grey Cup contender. When we're thinking about the Calgary Stampeders, this is a team that's in kind of that hopeful category. So it's one of those things where it makes sense where they're going to try to play more of their starters and try to get something going.
So here's the thing. Here's a couple of things. First off, if Calgary beats Winnipeg tomorrow, they're 2-0 in the preseason. Are people going to jump on the Stampeder bandwagon?
They shouldn't.
And think, oh, they're going to be good this year? No. Secondly, you got to remember, a week tomorrow, Calgary's at home against the Ticats. They don't have to do travel, whereas the Ticats have I don't know if they'll practice Sunday. They'll practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, travels Thursday, and then practice. So that's why they're not starting a lot of their starters this week versus Toronto, whereas Calgary doesn't have to travel much, and they get that extra day.
Yeah. But, so overall, here is
Paredes is not kicking.
Yes, I see. Rene Paredes is not playing tomorrow. So here is the ultimate question. Bombers or Stampeders? Who are you taking?
I'm taking Stampeders.
Oh. This is because I took Toronto, isn't it?
Turn right.
I feel like
and
Rick,
plus,
I feel like Rick just did a heel turn on me.
And I have no faith.
I'm taking the Bombers, baby.
I don't have any faith in Wilson as your quarterback.
Really? Did you watch him last game?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, Terry Wilson was actually pretty solid last game, so I feel decent with him at the helm. Obviously, like I'm sure he'll throw at least one pick. I mean, he's the third string. It's gonna happen. We'll see a bit of Strevy, but overall, I feel decent with the roster that we have there that we'll be able to get it done. But that leaves us with one last and final game. It's taking a little bit longer than I was intending, but it is what it is.
The complete crap show.
We have the Edmonton Elks versus the BC Lions. So I see that they're going to be starting with Vernon Adams Jr. with Dolagala behind him. I imagine Vernon Adams Jr. plays a little bit and then that's it. And then it goes back to Dolagala. I see they got Couture and Broxton, Neville, and Perkins.
Pretty much their starters.
Chung. So pretty much a lot of their starters here. I see they got Hollins and McInnes at receiver, as well as Urbart and Katoy and Fulgham. Yeah, no, there's a decent amount of guys that I do see in here. I see they got White and Flintloft on some of their special teams. From looking at the defensive side of things, Banks, Covington, Robertson.
As much as I hate to say this,
yep,
I just have a. Also, don't forget defensive tackle, Mr. Covington, who joins us from the NFL of last year. So
yes, that's right.
He has.
So that's definitely going to be a guy to keep an eye on. But then if we start to look at the Edmonton Elk side of things, Are we just gonna do our predictions now, Rick? I'm taking the BC Lions because, like, I'm looking at this lineup and there's a lot of players on the football field. There will be players on the football field.
The only good thing that I will mention for the Elks is Carter's best good friend kicker is playing for the Elks.
Dean Faithful, that is right. The British boy himself. Love Dean.
But
Dean's awesome.
I'm actually curious.
If you guys haven't, make sure to check out if you want to know about Dean Faithful's early career. We did an interview with Dean Faithful here on what was CFL Central at the time, obviously now Canadian Football Central. So we have a playlist with all those, so make sure to check that out. We go at least, I think it's a full 40 minutes with Dean Faithful. He talks about his whole upbringing, learning soccer and then joining into football from that, kind of what it's like going and being a football player from the UK. So make sure to check that out. Continue, please, Rick.
Yeah, two things I'm going to mention before I give you the floor to end it. One, Dolagala is backing up Vernon Adams, so he'll know what it's like to be on a winning team for once. Two, I'm actually curious to see if anyone leaves preseason tomorrow with any injuries.
I mean, we've already seen a decent amount of injuries. We really have.
No. I just mean, I'm not talking about from practice. I'm talking about from games.
Oh, I know. But if we're just talking about injuries in the preseason as a whole, obviously we had what's his name on Calgary that I keep blanking on his name.
Malik Henry.
Malik Henry. And then on Winnipeg, you have starting defensive tackle Cam Lawson out for the season as well. He got injured in that first game against Saskatchewan. So, he did, out for the season. So, boys, please stay safe.
And
please stay safe.
If I don't go on without saying this, I know a certain Argo fan is going to hate me for saying this.
Uh-oh.
Could you imagine if Cameron Dukes gets injured in the first 9 games and then they got to depend on Arbuckle?
It's the Nick Arbuckle. It's ping pong time, baby. We know he loves ping pong. I promise. I'm not shitting on him. Ping pong is sick. Like Arbuckle, credit to you, seriously.
So let me go back here. So I took Hamilton, you took Toronto, we both took Ottawa.
Yes.
You took Winnipeg, I took Calgary. I'm assuming you're taking BC and I'm taking BC.
Yep.
So either one of us is going to be smart and be 4-0, or one of us is just crap and going to be 2-2.
Rick, if I know anything about us two dumbasses, we'll both find a way to screw this up.
or we'll both be 3-1. One thing that I wanted to mention to you, have you looked at the Vegas odds?
No.
Okay, so just quick run through.
I've done like sports betting, like sponsorship stuff, but outside.
No. I'm just saying, like for wins wise. So they have Winnipeg at 12.5.
Okay.
So between 12 and 13. BC between 11 and 12. Saskatchewan and Calgary at 7.5, and Edmonton at 6.5. Then on the east side, they have Montreal 10.5, Toronto 9.5, Hamilton 8.5, and Ottawa 6.5.
Interesting. Well,
so according to them, there is no crossover this year.
Well, I think that might be a good point of discussion once we get into our full proper. We're probably going to do at least an hour of our season.
Half an hour
review.
of each division.
We'll see. We when we get caught up in talking. I mean, I originally planned on this video to be 20 minutes, and I see we're already at like the 30-minute mark. But we got a lot in that. And I think that's pretty much all we have. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. And also make sure you guys stay tuned when the review to this weekend's games comes out. It should be coming probably sometime this weekend or on the Monday. And so make sure you guys take care, and we'll see you guys next time.
Touchdown!